Hello you buggers, back again. So me and our soul here are going to attack this neck, get these frets off. Ooh, sorry little bugger. Now, in the last video, which you obviously watched, I measured the fret height, or sorry, the string height in relation to these frets here, and they measured around about 0.35 millimeters on the low E, between 0.45 and 5 mil on the high E side. Now, around about 0.2 millimeter is probably, a reasonable distance to have down here. I mean, obviously everybody's playing styles are different, so it's a tricky thing to gauge. But the reason I did that is because when I put the new frets on, I want to make sure that it's not going to cause any issues. I think the new height, or the height of the new frets, are a little bit higher than these. But having said that, I also noticed previously that there seems to be a lot more wear on these frets at this end than there are at this end. They're flatter, wider at the top on the crown, and so I suspect that if I measured these frets down this end and compare them to that fret, there'll be quite a significant height difference. So we'll find that out once I take them out. Now this is a maple neck with a clear varnish over the top of it. I'm sure you can see that. So the clear coat has gone onto this after fretting. You can tell that quite simply by running a scalpel very carefully along the edges. You want to just get down right in that join, keeping the scalpel flat and the pressure into that gap there, and you'll see the finish just cracking away. Now I want to do that before I defret it, just on the off chance that when I lift the frets it will pull the varnish away. Now once this is all done, might have to refinish the clear coat on the neck anyway. But I just want to avoid it if I can. It's not about a case about making the job easier for yourself, it's just reducing the risk of anything untoward happening. Because you never know, you might accidentally pull the varnish away. It will pull it off down here, it will go everywhere, and then before you know it, you end up having to sand down the entire neck down to bare wood to do a complete refinish job on it. Now there are cosmetic areas that I'd like to address, like this bit here, which has had the finished taken off, and it's showing through to the bare wood, which is slightly divoted and dirty. So it'd be nice to try and fix that. Now the guy whose neck this is told me not to worry about that. So we'll give it a go, see what we can do, and if it doesn't work, if we can't get rid of it, then, you know, fair enough. It's just an extra dot marker where you didn't want one. Now we're getting close to the nut here. There's a chip on the side of the nut here. It's purely cosmetic. It's not affecting the nut in any particular way. It's purely cosmetic. We'll try and address that now, because I don't know how good this guy's eyes are. He might be blinder than me. He might not be able to see it, or he might have eyes that can see differences in tone wood. So it'd be nice if you looked at that and goes, "Oh yeah, that's perfection." Of course, as long as I don't screw it up. Right. So that's them all. Just, I don't know what you'd call that. Just a little undercut, just to break that bond between fret and finish. Once I get all the frets off, assuming that it doesn't pull all the finish off, I'll be able to just clean it up, polish it up. There are some little tiny little divots, tiny little divots in the finish. It would be great just to see if we could just remove all of those. Okay, so the soldering iron's been warming up. Now, what we're going to do here is just the idea with this is to just heat up the frets and break any glue bonds. I suppose another way of doing this would be just to sit an iron on top of them all. Right. Here we go also. Here goes nothing. Actually, never mind that. Where's my masking tape gone? Right. It's just, again, I'm being probably way too anal. There she blows. Well, there's one off. What to do with old frets? What can we do with them? You know me, I don't like throwing anything away. Earrings? Wedding rings? I don't know. Okay, so that first fret came out successfully without pulling everything up. And the worst thing about doing this with the soldering iron is you really have absolutely no idea what kind of effect it's having. Now this is what everybody else does, so I'm doing it too. Now I have refret my a neck of mine, my first one, a while back, and I didn't do that, and it was perfectly fine. So this could be one of those things where everybody just does the thing with the soldering iron because I've seen someone do it, and we don't have to do it at all. But I'm not going to take that risk with somebody else's neck. Certainly not their guitar neck, anyway. So it's catching and it's grabbing. I'm just doing a kind of springing back. I'm tempted to use my big ones, but once it starts to go, it's fine. Just gently does it. 2. Shall I pause the video here? This could be a very, very long video. Hold on a sec. So that's all the frets out. I've got a small confession. Right about here, I accidentally forgot to use the soldering iron and pulled the fret, and it's perfectly fine. So I've basically done that through the whole thing. Switched the soldering iron off, saved a bit of power. So I'm possibly guessing, because the finish went over the top of the frets, that's kind of, they're kind of accepting that as the glue-in. So when we come to putting in the new frets, I say we, me, when we come to putting the new frets, I'm not too sure about gluing in. Some people will use super glue, thin super glue that will just run in. Some will use wood glue, so it's got a bit of bite to it, but it's not, you know, an insane adhesive. Not gluing metal to wood. So that's probably quite a nice one. Some people use natural hide glues. I'm not going to mess around with that. Or we just go with the idea that the finish, because I will be going over it with a coat of finish, because one thing that does do, it seals in. Well, the idea is that it seals in the bottom of the frets with the board, so it's easy to clean. It stops the dirt from getting underneath the frets. There's tiny bits of green tarnishing at the edges where you can see where it's kind of failed. It's not worked because the sweat and things are getting in at the ends. I suppose that's a good reason for a bound fretboard. But yeah, I'll be putting a little bit of finish just to seal it off at the end. I had one particularly nasty fret that would not come out. It was obviously these low ones down here, just could not get a grip on it. So I've accidentally scratched the surface, which isn't great, but you know, I'll clean that up. The way I actually managed to get it started was oh, here we go. I basically managed to get a screwdriver just in behind the tang and just tap it up with a hammer, just enough to get the grips underneath and pull it up. And so there we go. I'm gonna, before I give it give it a once over with the sanding cloth, I want to try and deal with this little dirty spot here, because I don't want to sand over and work more stuff into it. What to try first? I mean, obviously you can hit it with detergents and all kinds of things. Now, one thing I'm thinking about, because it's indented, maybe I can pull that indentation up out with some steam, and maybe the steam will also pull some of that dirt out. Now, because I've revealed all this stuff, I don't want steam to get in there. So I'll probably try some various tapes to go over the top of that. I could infill it with silicone. But I don't want to get stuck into not getting that out. Okay, I'll try a bit of tape. See how that goes. The finish is coming off where the dot markers are. In a couple of places, it's just peeling away there. Let's see how far I can get without taking too much of the finish off. If I have to go back all the way, I have to go back all the way. Then our trick would be to you can see on the headstock here. Well, you probably can't, but I can see here on the headstock where the truss rod cover has been removed is the original colour that the neck would have been, and this varnish is tarnished over the years. So what would I do? Do I just put on some clear coat varnish, expecting it to age the same, or is it going to age disproportionately? So this will get yellower and darker, and this will stay, it will get to this colour, but it will always stay lighter. Or do I kind of match it up? Interesting problem. This is the sort of thing where it really does help to have like years of experience in guitar building, because you could 10 years down the line, if this was my guitar, I could pull it off the wall and go, oh yeah, that didn't work, or yeah, that worked, I can do that again for the next 10 years. Or it just helps someone who's done it previously for 10 years and then they can just tell you. Right, enough rambling. I'll cover these up, get the iron out, get that nice and hot, see where we go from. Right, so going back to the fret height thing, this is a relatively decent fret with very little wear on the top. Now there's quite a few of those to pick from. Doesn't necessarily have to be the very, very last one. And this measures about 0.6 of a millimetre tang, bottom of tang to the top. This is one of the shorter ones from here, possibly here, or it might have been here. No, it's definitely there, because this was the one that had the gammy end on it. Yeah, so measure this and it measures around about 0.55. So there's 5 thousandths. Is that right? 5 thousandths. But yeah, 0.05 difference in height. So yes, it was a different height. So when we put the new frets in, assuming that they're 0.6 high, we would be getting back up to around about 0.3 millimeters gap. Hang on, let me just. So this is the new fret wire. Zero that out. Now from tang to top, these are 0.1 millimeters. Just do this again. Actually, these are 0.1. Maybe I didn't zero this out properly. Yeah. Yeah, so they're not 0.5. It wasn't zeroed properly. But then again, I was just measuring the difference. But yeah, the difference is 0.005, so it's 5 thousandths of an inch difference between the decent frets and the shorter ones. And these are 107. 107. So these are the same height. These are the same height as the frets that came out. So that's all good. So when they go back in here, there will be around about 0.3 millimeters string height at the nut. So all is good. Yeah, I did. So like these are like measurements. Some of these measurements before when I was just inspecting the neck, but obviously it's a lot harder to measure these little things while they're in situ. I suppose again. So the dirty spot, I scrapped the idea of the steam iron. I just thought, no, that's just way too heavy-handed. So I put the soldering iron back on again, and just a bit of damp cloth over the top of that, and heated it up. Got the steam in, and did it lift the wood fibres? Not really. Did it take the dirt out? Not really. So we have a divot there still from before. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something about the divot. So I've gone in and just, with a scalpel, just very, very gently lifting out the dirty bits. So we're pretty much back to clean maple there. And what I'm going to try and do now is just mix up a little varnish to this colour and blotch that in. I think what now I've got that off, and now I'm quite happy with the lack of dirt in there. I'll just give the whole thing a bit of a rub down. Right, so I have here some micro mesh polishing cloths. There's no need to go heavy-handed with the grit on this. I think the lowest it goes is about 1500, I think, grit, which is missing. It's off having an adventure somewhere else, but I've got some 1800 here. Before I go too mad, I'll start with that. Obviously I can go, probably be around about, I probably wouldn't want to go much more than 500. I did have some of that kicking around here. But can't hurt with a fresh piece. Right. So, on with the 1800, just see what happens. Now ideally we wouldn't have a nut there, but I'm not going to take it out. Let's bung a little bit of tape over that just to protect it. Just a little bit of electrical tape. I mean, it just takes, you pull it tight, it just takes the form nicely. I mean, this part of the neck is in pretty good condition here. You know, it's not really very scratched, so I'm not too worried about getting right to the ends. I think I can probably go up to 500 grit. Yeah. Yeah, it's doing a nice job though, but yeah, I think I can safely go a bit higher. Okay, so I've got some 500, I've got some 800. I think I've seen better days. Now, there's no danger in staying on the safe side of abrasive paper. Obviously I could probably hit it with something like 240, but I think it's much a better idea to start with too high use a little bit too much elbow grease and go, I'm getting bored of this, rather than just go straight in with the big heavy grade paper and put scratches where you don't want scratches, and then you'll be hours and hours trying to get rid of them again. So I like to start high and go down and get to the point that I'm happy, and then come back up again. Right, so let's just that's doing a grand job. That's just taking the finish and flattening it all out. You can see the difference. Wow, that's lovely. It also shows up all the little dinks. So the scratches. That will be disappearing. There's divots there as well. Oh, you've got to love a nice maple neck. Now you can see with the finish is not too happy around that dot marker there. You probably can't quite see it. I'd rather just remove it from around there. Come back with some new finish. Obviously you'll need to get all the dust out from everywhere. Okay. So a bit more rubbing down. Okay, so I have some very basic polyurethane finish. It's the Rust-Oleum protective finish. A hard-wearing clear protective finish for wood, metal and plain surfaces. Clear gloss. And I've just sprayed an inky little bit into a pot here, and using a fine brush, I'm just brushing it onto the areas where the frets have been revealed, just to test it, and the colour is good. We like the colour. It's basically the same thing. So in I go into the spotty bit. Okay, so it looks a little grey. That'll be the dirt that's in there. Obviously I could cut down deeper. I don't really want to. I was kind of not really expecting to make this go invisible. That would be a miracle. So what I'm doing, just going over all the little divots and dinks this poor thing's had over the years. Just dropping it in. It will thin out. It will flatten it off. When it dries, I'll just go over again. And then just keep on adding it until I can't see them anymore. Yeah, there was quite a nasty scratch somewhere, an old scratch. Oh, that was it there. Already dink that in. I mean, some of these little divots are really barely significant. But it's just the kind of guy I am. You can't always get perfection, but it's a nice thing to strive for. I reckon that's going to need quite a lot. I mean, I could use epoxy, because it's more of a fill really here. It's not a deep hole, but it's a hole nonetheless. But I'll see how that goes. I've got this divot here. This is another little dirty bit, kind of scratch. So what I'll do is I'll scratch into it. And add this stuff. Now I'm sure there's loads of little other areas that could probably use this. There's some nasty dings down here. I'll probably deal with those. I mean, they are like really like nasty chips. I don't know how they occurred. I know it's not me because they're dirty. They're old chips, so I will probably deal with those when I come to doing the rest of the neck. As these little blobs I put on here start to dry, they will tend to dip in the middle, almost like you can see a little donut shape, and they're kind of like dropping down if you just catch the light right. But just add a little bit more into the middle. Just going a little bit at a time. Now I'll possibly won't come back to this for quite a while, maybe the morning. It's quite a thin application, but I want it to go nice and hard and solid before I come back at it and try and rub it down. So the poor bugger's waited so long for me to actually start doing this. I might as well do it properly. Tiny little cracks in the finish around where the string tree held in there. Tiny. Start looking really close. I did the same thing with the kitchen strap one, because like every time you just start getting more and more perfection, all that does happen there is you start finding bigger errors. This goes back to precision model making. I had to make some model replicas of Thunderbirds several years ago, and they were being done for a Ryobi advert, and the clients kind of actually just wanted them. What they really wanted was the actual models used in the series, but you couldn't have them. So we made replicas, and because the clients wanted to keep them afterwards, and they had to be absolutely spot on perfect. Spot on perfect. And it made this job, or makes this job, look pretty slapdash in comparison. Yeah. You can get perfection if you want. Just takes a bit longer. Actually, it takes a lot longer. Right, that's your lot for now. Clean this brush. Thanks to the makers of the steam pudding for providing a pot. Very useful. And Tesco's finest silver anchovies for it's liquidized anchovies. No, that's white spirit that's been it's filthy. Yeah, that was good enough. Right, time to edit this, and what else shall I do tonight? I'll cook tea, edit this, and I'm sure I'll find something else to fiddle with, but I don't think you need to see any more from me today. So till next time, see you later.